Okay, I would like to welcome everyone this morning. This is only our second in-person event since the pandemic. Our first one was last Friday, so this is all kind of a new transition. So welcome, thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. I am Brigitta. I'm the program coordinator for the Women's Business Center of Utah. And if you don't know what the Women's Business Center of Utah is, we are a nonprofit. We are a 501c3, and we are funded by SBA, but we are also a special project of the Salt Lake Chamber. So we are under the chamber, but we totally do everything on our own. We have our own separate entity and budget. And so our main mission is to help women entrepreneurs to either start or grow their business. So if you are a woman entrepreneur or know of any, make sure that they connect with us because we have a lot of exciting things. We do these training sessions on a weekly basis. Well, that's our goal. And then we also do one-on-one counseling for women entrepreneurs. And then one major thing that we just released was our Utah Women-Owned Business Directory. So it's a business directory that's solely for women entrepreneurs all over the state of Utah. So everything we do is for the entire state. We are part of the northern office, but we also have an office in Cedar City that controls the southern counties of the state. So that's us. And if you see right here, we have a survey because since we are SBA funded, we do ask if you could fill that out for help with our grant, but also so we know what we can do to better provide for attendees and make sure that we're providing information that people want and need. So that's why you have a few of those papers in front of you. And I will now turn the time to you so we can all tune into what you have set up for us because it's so exciting. So thank you so much for agreeing to present. We cannot wait. So I'll turn the time to you.
Thank you.
Of course.
Well, I'll have to say my favorite people are here today. So that's great. I'm Christina Eden. I am a life and relationship coach. And since we're talking about passion and purpose in life today, I'm going to also share one of my passions with you. So I'm looking forward. I would like to ask if any of you, I know so before some of you had mentioned that you have a passion too. Do you would like to share?
I already said mine. It's party planning.
Party planning.
I love party planning.
Yeah.
And then outside of party planning, I am obsessed with sports.
Oh, great. Sports.
Doesn't matter. Just as long as there's a good competition and skill, I will tune in and appreciate it.
Any kind of sport?
Any kind. It doesn't have to be a ball sport. Doesn't have to be a team sport. Anything. I just love the thrill of it.
Oh, cool. Great.
I took up on a new passion recently in bike riding. So I'm in my second year of some long distance bike riding, and it's been good for me, mentally and physically.
Like cycling?
Yes.
Woo! Oh my god.
I did my first 50-mile bike ride last fall.
50
Yeah.
miles. I did 6 miles and I thought it was special. Yeah, 6 miles. I'm not running. I'm riding. Yeah.
That's so great.
Come on in.
This is Connie. She's our lead business
How are
advisor.
you? And I'm Leslie.
This is Connie from
Yeah.
the Business Cards.
How are you?
It's glad to have you.
I tried to spark it too.
Okay. Just to get started here, I wanted to tell you a little bit about some experiences that I've had in life. I grew up kind of all over the world. We moved on the average of every 3 to 4 years. And it was such an amazing experience to me to learn cultures from everywhere. South America, Korea, just every place you can think of. And I loved the experience. But just to share with you one of the experiences of art that I had when I lived in Pittsburgh was that I had a gallery there that represented me. But that means that no matter what I created, they would put it in their shop to sell. Isn't that awesome? It didn't even have to be awesome creation, just they would take it and sell it. So at one point, they called me up and they said they were going to have an auction with some of their artwork. So they asked me, they gave me 2 months. They said, can you get something ready for the auction in 2 months? And I thought, oh, 2 months, I can do that. And so right after we hung up, I had this brain freeze. Have you ever had a brain freeze? And I was thinking, I have no idea what I am going to make. So I decided that I would drive through the old part of Pittsburgh. And I don't know if any of you've ever been to Pittsburgh. Huge. You have?
I have.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Beautiful mansions.
Yes.
Oh, tall
Old,
buildings.
Yeah.
And so many of them were in decay and falling apart. So when I was driving through the town there, I got to thinking, oh, you know what? I could make a big pot and carve on the side of it Pittsburgh, the buildings and all of that kind of stuff. So I had to do some research to find out what they used to look like and not necessarily what they look like at that moment. So after all of my research and my picture taking, and I went home and I started throwing a pot on the wheel. Do you guys know anything about pottery? You do? This is a wheel.
Just from movies, is that so bad?
I took it in college.
Okay, oh, there you go, that's awesome.
Wasn't my thing.
Cool. So anyway, to throw a large pot, you have to be very concentration on what you are doing, and then you had to be able to throw a lot of weight, because there's a lot of centrifugal force right there that's so easy to get off out of center. So it took me several tries before I finally got a tall enough pot, and I was really excited. Wow, finally, I got a tall pot. So then I got my pictures out and started carving these buildings and these mansions and the bridges and all the things that were in Pittsburgh, and I got them all on, I just put them on the one side and then trees on the back. And it took me several weeks. So approximately so far now, it was about 3 weeks in that I was starting to carve all of these, because you have to wait for the pot to be leather hard. It can't be soft. So I got all my buildings carved in and all my trees, and then I had to let it sit and dry before I could fire it the first time. So that's what I did. So that took maybe another couple of weeks, so I thought, oh man, I'm getting close to the deadline here. So I put it in the kiln and fired it at a low fire temperature, just hot enough so that it solidified enough that I could put a glaze on it. And so when I opened the kiln to look inside, I thought, woo, it made the first firing. It didn't crack, it didn't break. So I got it out of the pot and put the glaze on it and stuck it in my gas kiln. And with this kiln, it's called a low fire or raccoon. And it's outdoors and it's gas. And so I put it in there, I turned the gas up. You have to turn it up in degrees, so I did that. And when it finally reached like 1,700 degrees, I turned the gas off. Of course, I was covered with heat-resistant stuff, opened the kiln, and as I was getting a hold of the pot and lifting it out, one of the tall buildings hit the top of the kiln and it broke it off. I was devastated after weeks and weeks of making that pot. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the combustion chamber, which is a shredded newspaper. It catches on fire. If you like playing in the fire, this is fun. And then I put the lid on it so that it would be oxygen starved. But the whole time I was just crying. Oh, I promised I would have something, and I just destroyed it. So, hi, come on in.
Thank you. Hi.
I said,
Oh, thank you so much.
So I waited for a couple of hours and then still crying, tears running down my cheeks, and thinking, now what am I gonna do? Do I need to come up with something different for the auction, or just tell them I can't do it? And so after a couple of hours, I took the lid off and took the pot out, and all of it looked absolutely beautiful except that broken mansion or broken tower. And then I thought, you know what? I could just go to bed and cry for 2 months, because that's how long it took me to make this pot. Or I could just put it in the auction, and if it doesn't sell, no big surprise, right? So I went ahead and I put it in the auction, and I decided to call it Broken Tear. And when we got to the auction, they were starting to auction it off, and people kept raising their hand that they wanted wanted this pot, and I just sat there with my mouth open. By the end of the auction, I had sold that pot for 3 times more than any pot I had ever made. And then afterwards, the guy that ended up buying the pot came to me and said that when he saw that pot, it touched his soul, because he grew up in Pittsburgh. He saw these mansions and these tall buildings when they were new, and he saw them decaying and falling apart. So he said he felt like he had to have that pot. And so all the way home after the auction, I cried happy tears to think that what I had created touched the soul of another person. And in reality, when you think about it, I could not have created that pot myself. It was not created entirely by me. The part that was the most important to this man was the part that came from outside sources. So that kind of leads us to finding our passion. Sometimes it comes to us from outside sources, and sometimes it comes to us through practice and through tears or whatever the case is. That's where our passions come from. So I thought I would like to demonstrate some pottery today, since pottery is my passion. My full-time job is I am a life and relationship coach. But when you think about it, doing pottery to me is just like life. So if you look at these 3 different types of clay, I mean, there's hundreds and thousands of different kinds of clay. This one is called Black Mountain, and it is a high fire stoneware, which means that it's fired over 2,000 degrees. And you can use food in it. You can bake in it. You can put it in the microwave, that kind of thing. This clay is porcelain. This is a very fine, this one has grog in it or sand, whatever you want to call it. And so you can feel the difference. If you want to exfoliate, you just put your face on the pot. So anyway, this has a lot of grog and filler in it, which makes it easier to use, easier to throw a pot than the porcelain is, because if you have your finger in the wrong place, you're going to rip the porcelain pot. And you can welcome to take these out and feel them if you want. This one is called a raku. It's a low fire. You really cannot use it for food. The Japanese use it for tea ceremonies, and I guess they've been for quite a while, so maybe it wouldn't kill you. But it's very porous, which means that food can get caught between the clay cells. And just to show you, this one is a raku pot. It even sounds different than a porcelain pot. Can you hear that? Mm-hmm. So it's more decorative than it is useful. So there's the raku, and I want to say, how many of you have one of these?
I love it.
I love a toilet.
Plenty of those.
Yeah, plenty of those. You know, when we first think of a toilet, we think, oh, gross, oh, dirty. They're just nasty. How many of you would like to go through life without one?
No, thank you.
The outhouse is definitely dirtier.
Yeah, the outhouse is worse, right? Okay, just to give you some information, a toilet is made out of porcelain, and it is fired at a very, very hot level. And the reason is because they want the pores, the clay particles to come closer together, because if you made it out of raku clay, then you wouldn't be able to clean the toilet.
I'd be scratchy on your bottom.
Right, right. So it would be a really mess. So if you want to liken this to your own life, no matter what it is that you
Yes.
choose to do in life, if you're a toilet, be a good one. And just to remember that a toilet has gone through so much more of a refining fire.
That's where it's got its name, the porcelain throne.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So this one's been through the refining fire, this one has not. So if you want to go through the refining fire, you would probably need to be needed by everybody, right?
Now I understand why they're so expensive.
What did you say?
Now I understand why toilets are expensive. Porcelain.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It's not your mind.
Seriously. Okay, when you're firing or throwing a pot, you have to have the pot centered, right? Do you know what that means? Kim knows what that
Yes.
means. What does it mean?
If you don't have it centered, your plate's gonna go fly off the grill.
That's probably why they call it throwing.
Yes.
Actually, and also.
And also you can create your shape. You have to, this is what I've learned, cause my core has to be strength and I have to be tight, I have to be sturdy, and my have to be balanced, so I can get that clay to do the same thing, to have it balanced and.
Right, thank you, Kim. A lot of times when you're first starting to throw pottery, it looks like a toilet. So, not centered.
I know from experience it goes flying. And my frustration, I get something just perfect, and then all of a sudden my finger gets in the way and I ruin it, so it's almost done.
Hey, you can see it wobbles.
Yep. Yep.
So if it wobbles, that means it's not centered, right? So I would like you to liken this also to your own life. If you are not centered in your principles, if you are not centered in your passion, if you are not centered in your purpose, there is no joy. You are unhappy, you are frustrated, and it does not lead to a lot of production or happy living. So anytime you find yourself stuck in a bad place, remember this pot and get centered. And we're going to talk a little bit more about centering our lives in our passions, in our purpose. So here is one thing, when I'm throwing this pot and I get ready to open it up, I find the very quiet spot right in the middle where it doesn't move when you put your finger on it. So there's one thing right there. If you're having a hard time finding your purpose or your passion, maybe you need to find a quiet place. And then, after you find your quiet place, you start to open it up. So who would you open up to when you find looking for your new passion or your purpose?
Someone you trust?
Somebody you trust, right. Somebody you trust, or maybe you would go to a professional, maybe you'd take classes, maybe you'd watch YouTubes, anything at all like that. If you find that something keeps calling you, then maybe you need to stop, get in a quiet place, then open up to all the possibilities that are in your life.
Also, another thing I think too, Christina, is I would open up to somebody who their life, or they're in a place where I would like to be.
Okay.
Who's already achieved that.
That's a very good point, thank you. So, then after you open up, you can start shaping your life. Anyone want to come try it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I have a question, because I've never watched anybody do it before. How do you take it off when you have it?
I know.
I
realize that's
It's
right.
like it might be early.
Yeah, I know, you're black.
Yeah, that's
I'm
good
fine, but
question.
I don't care.
I'd always go over my gym clothes and stuff, something be dirty, it's
So
like,
when at home, I
That's
have a lot of
beautiful.
these,
Yeah.
and I will just take it off and then set it over to dry. Then when it gets leather hard,
It will just are
no,
not
I have
stuck.
to cut it off.
How hard is it? How hard is it to get off your
oh, really
clothes?
easy. Get off what?
I use a wire.
Just throw it in the washer.
When it's hard, right?
It comes off really
I
easy.
know some people use a wire and take it off at this level.
Wow, that's
So-
crazy. That's cool.
I didn't know that's how you did it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, let me get you another piece.
No effort.
skirt up a little.
Hey, I have biker shorts on. I promise. I promise.
Okay, to start with, you need to keep your elbows to your sides.
Okay.
Push down with your chest, and are you right-handed?
Yes.
Okay, you push in this with this hand right here, and then with your fist right here.
Core strength, and remember.
That is gonna be. Okay.
Now, this is awesome.
Okay.
Fist
This.
on the top. The back of the
this
hand.
Pushing against.
Yes, okay.
Sorry.
You know, looking for your passion, sometimes it doesn't.
So like
Okay,
that.
yep, step on the gas.
I have some on my dress, but it's okay.
It's okay, it's black, it won't show.
It does wash out.
Wait, what is it? What am I doing here? Trying to make it small?
You're trying to get it centered.
Oh, that is definitely not happening. That is 100% not happening.
That's okay, this is your first time.
So, center.
Step on the gas. Keep going.
That is not supposed to be what I'm supposed to look.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Sometimes it doesn't come out exactly how, like my pot that I made did not
She
come
made it
out.
look so easy.
Yeah.
She was just like,
Yeah,
like
really.
so
Seriously.
one with the piece.
Yeah.
How do I get that to be anything?
You
Nothing.
just have to keep trying.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. We'll just look it up right now to the center here. And then, so I want it to come together.
Right, the back of the hand,
Yeah.
the fist,
Uh-huh.
okay, step on the gas.
The gas is burning.
Don't let off the gas.
Good job.
Keep it
Good
up.
job.
Oh, it's going, guys!
Yeah.
You're doing it.
Keep going, don't let off the gas, keep it going, keep it consistent.
That's good.
Oh, and that's
You're
good.
good.
Now it looks back to like cone.
That actually looks like some of the old buildings in Pittsburgh.
Oh, well, then it's art, right?
That's right.
Okay, I'm off.
Are you through? Or do
Oh
you-
wait, I'm really stubborn, so.
Okay.
Okay, one more time.
Okay,
I'm
step
gonna.
on the
You got
gas.
it.
Oh yes, I want to see the professional do it. How'd she do that? Like that?
Yeah, it's still not completely centered, but,
Hey, that's beautiful to me.
hey, did you wanna try finding the quiet spot?
And I just put.
Just if you get the gas going. Okay, there's one place right here that you put your finger on that does not move. That's the place that you want to push down to open it up.
I think my nails are gonna ruin it, but it's okay.
Yeah, it will. That's all right. Good job.
Yay!
You did it.
Sort of.
Can we show them?
Wonderful.
Yeah. I'm gonna call this a dairy.
Oh,
Good
that's
job.
cute. That's way cute. Yeah, you could
Or
put
the
your,
curly
like,
stew.
crystals in it.
You could,
Yes.
or a
Great.
cereal bowl
So
or
what do I
something.
do now?
Well,
For like 3 pieces of cereal.
you can try.
The small cereal.
You can try bringing it up. If I can get it back on the wheel.
Bringing it up. I can even take it down. But it's okay.
Okay, you just put the hand on the inside.
Yeah.
You can use the sponge on the outside, and you're just gonna come up like that.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Just
She
like
makes
that.
it
Note
so
to
easy.
self,
Yep.
don't
Just
do
feel it. Be
possibly
one
with
with the
acrylic
pottery.
nails. That's the first
Yeah.
note taken.
I was.
Actually, the first note taken is probably don't wear heels and so go like this.
Yeah, but I would use 2 fingers.
Oh, okay, and then go like this.
Yeah. Then you squeeze these 2 together
Okay.
and bring it up. Lock your arms.
Cool.
Going,
Yeah.
going.
Going up.
It's going.
Yeah.
Oh, then I'm
And those darn fingers get in the way again.
Please tell me this is like normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's actually really good.
You're doing great for your first time.
Yeah, that is. There's an
I had to show my nails on it, so yeah, don't have nails.
Okay, there's an ashtray. That's almost as good as a toilet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
No, thank you. I literally always wanted to do this, so.
Cool.
Cool.
You check it off your bucket
You
list.
can go wash them, or you can just leave them that way.
I'll be right back.
Or if you're good, great facial,
I can see how that's relaxing.
Give
It's like
yourself
cold.
your dress isn't too bad.
Anyone else want to try it?
Character.
She's always wanted to do
Do
it.
you want to try it?
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay.
One thing I haven't tried yet. I make a lot of stuff.
What kind of stuff do you make?
Oh my gosh. What's it been? Right now I'm getting into jewelry, but
Oh, cool.
I do a lot of stuff in crocheting.
Oh,
Yeah, I like to try everything. I've done ceramics before, but not like this.
Like
Where
just
you just
with the
pour it
rolling
into
pin
a
in the,
mold.
in the
Oh,
pot,
yeah.
oh,
yeah.
and the cookie cutters.
Easy, yeah, that's
Like
it.
Play-Doh?
Yeah, paint it. So this is cool.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, Charlotte, you got this.
You got this.
Oh, I'm center myself. Okay.
Okay, do you remember how I told her how to do it? Here's the gas,
Okay.
and you're gonna, this hand, are you right-handed?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, this hand is gonna be
My guide.
this part against the clay, this one is gonna be on the top in a fist. Okay, and you push down on this and in on this, and
Okay.
keep your elbows
Right here.
glued to the side.
Okay.
Okay, step on the gas.
Push down.
Harder, harder, down and in.
Good job. You're doing good.
Water helps a lot.
Cool.
Awesome, Charlotte.
Okay, do you wanna try opening it up?
Okay, and how do you do that?
That's where you find a quiet place, right in the very middle,
Okay.
and then you start the gas, push down.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it again.
Okay, stop. Now you're gonna do,
Start pulling.
yeah, 2 fingers here, this one's gonna be there, this one, and then you start
No, just speed it so it
lifting up.
scares me. I know it's such a char.
But she's a natural, look
I
at
know.
her.
Oh, look at that.
I was like, man, you make it look easy for me.
I'm just trying to find my center.
Hey, that's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Oh, give her a hand.
That's hard to bring him up that tall.
Jeez,
Good job.
Kind of wobbly.
That's
Looks
okay.
like my uterus.
This is your first time.
Yay! That's a flower pot. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. That's awesome.
You know, whenever I go to a new area,
is.
I always like to look up, they used to have phone books, now you have to, thank you. Used to have phone books, which they don't have anymore, to tell my age. So I would always go visit a potter that was close to the area that I was in, and so one time, when I was in New York, I looked up this one guy that does pottery for a living, and he was way out in the boonies, and he was in this huge octagon dome, I guess is what they're called, and he was just sitting off in the corner. He had shells and shells and shells of absolutely amazing pottery. So I asked him, I said, how long did it take you to do these? And he says, 2 hexagonal domes and 35 years. So you can't do a pot that easily, that fast. So you guys are awesome. Did anybody else want to try it?
I mean,
Not you?
I've kind of always wanted to try too, but
Go for it, Susie.
you think? Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
take
you
off your rings, yeah.
I want to pretend like I'm on Ghost and, you know.
And you're Demi Moore, and then Patrick Swayze comes behind you.
Yeah, that's
I know.
I'm always like imagining. It's like, I'm so good at it.
That's me too. I
See,
envision
now
that
you're
all the
living one of
time.
your dreams.
Yes.
Do you have this good-looking guy
I
behind
don't
you?
know. I kind of was glass someone else. Wow, that looks so good. She did so amazing.
Yeah, she really did.
Could you keep that?
Sure.
Okay,
if
because
she
she
wants
would
to.
love it. Just so
If
you know.
it's not
Yeah.
fire or
It would
anything.
mean a lot to her, I know. For sure that I'm not gonna wanna keep mine.
Yeah, mine was already keeping
But-
it there.
You don't want to
It'd be
keep
fun.
yours because I just dropped it in the bucket and I can try and get it out.
Oh, no, it's fine.
It's cute. It's still cute.
Is
I
it?
just-
Okay, can I
And you
keep
could
mine?
put like
Jewelry.
crystals in it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Well, you
Or
know, just like
Ashtray, your
fix it.
cigarette butts.
I'll figure something out. I'll make it. Have you guys seen? Well, have you seen that? No, wait, have you seen that show?
Oh,
It's like
yay.
it's about neighbors
Josh,
and
she's
it's
gonna
very
save
they
that
call
for
it
you.
conversation piece. I'm
What?
gonna have
She's
to
gonna
have
save
a
that for you.
conversation piece.
I made, I have,
video to bring.
Yeah.
The thing you made.
I was making a beautiful
The thing
bowl,
you made,
and I
she's
was
gonna
so
save
proud of
it
myself.
for you.
This book is so
awesome.
good, and then my dang feet
This-
got in the way
This hand
and
and this hand or
flop.
here?
I know
Just
that
like-
feeling.
But I kept it because it's
Yeah.
just like,
This is the fist.
what
on top.
happens, right?
This-
Yeah, that's
this is
that
the
look- I
side,
was
so
doing
you're
something
coming
and
in like this.
My finger just
Pulling this
just
in,
told me
this
what
in,
my-
This down.
your elbows,
Kind of gets in the way.
that's some juice.
Lovely nails, right?
I-
Almost fasten to my side.
never,
And
never.
this.
I want to do this. Nice.
Oh.
Whoa, look at that. There we go, natural.
Whoa, Cindy,
Oh my gosh.
you got it balanced.
Yeah.
Ah, burning.
That was just me too.
Burning my hand.
It does.
That's why if you had a lot of dead skin on your face, you just put your
Yeah,
face
you
in.
can. There's a lot of good things to that. It's like the refiner's fire.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
Cindy,
so
she
now
doesn't live far from you.
Okay,
You
now
want to
you
take
find a
lessons.
quiet place in the middle.
Okay,
You don't wanna go too far, because
Okay.
you,
What do I
otherwise
do
you'll
on
go
the-
out. You push on here,
push.
hold this in place.
Oh, that's so cool how that does
Okay,
that.
stop. Now you're gonna pull this
Okay.
out.
Okay,
Ooh,
give me
look
more
at it.
water.
Hers is so
So
smooth.
now I've seen people go.
Yep, that's
You've
exactly
seen people,
right.
you saw Patrick do it.
Patrick said.
People are Patrick.
Demi
There's
Moore.
a nice
Honestly,
difference.
Patrick. Okay, so do I just like move this, or do I go out this way, or do I just?
So
I
what
was
you're
just
doing
saying.
is you push with this finger. This one needs kind of be a
This
fist.
finger,
I use these
these
three.
three. Okay.
And then this one, this is gonna be flat.
Okay.
And you're gonna push them together and come up.
Okay.
But you don't have to move because of the wheel.
Come back to me. Come on, stay centered. Stay centered.
Okay, I'd say you got,
Patrick.
oh, good. Stay focused on
Stay
Patrick.
focused on Patrick, and it'll happen. Okay. I feel like that is kind of a cute goal, sort of.
I feel like it is too.
Yeah.
Can you show everybody?
Yeah. Show everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yay! Oh, wow, good job.
Oh, that's a great bowl. It was so smooth.
Show her how to get rid of that little hump in the middle.
How to get rid of that?
Yeah, it's really easy.
Okay.
I think, if I remember right.
Okay, Kim wants you to get rid of this hump in the middle.
Okay.
You can use the sponge or your fingers, and what you're doing is you're just kind of pulling it to
Oh,
the side.
I want to do that.
Okay,
I like the sponge better.
Okay. You've done it, Kim?
Yeah,
she's my student.
Oh, nice, Kim.
I make.
Crap. So I don't guess I don't understand. So it doesn't
You're
feel.
just putting it in the quiet place in the middle, and you're pulling it to the side.
Okay, maybe I'll use my finger. How fast do I go?
Yeah, that's good.
Kind of like that?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not pulling it to the side. I feel like I'm
Well, you got
pushing
part of it.
I feel like it's, okay, hold on.
But it is true because it's hard to stay central in that.
You know, when you
chaotic
watch somebody
spin.
do it, it looks so awesome. You know what I'm
So
saying?
you glue
Yeah.
Oh, glue my hands.
I went
Okay,
right
good,
after
good.
the professional. Thinking that was easy.
I got this.
Oh my gosh. Yay! Yes!
You
Did
got
you do
it?
it?
I did.
I think, okay, do I
I
dress
know, I'm really
like a
pumped.
potter or do I dress like a life coach?
Hey, it's okay, either
So-
way. I love this concept.
So there's her pot. Hi, glad you could come.
Thank you.
Turned out pretty good.
Yes.
Hey,
So I should have gone third, not first, is what you're saying.
I know, right? The first one's always
Please charm.
right, maybe by the 10th one they'll have it.
Oh, yeah. No, that was amazing. Thank you for letting us have that
Yeah.
experience.
This kind of reminds me of a story. I think the guy's name was Greg. Can't remember his last name right offhand. But he was an air conditioning man. That's what he had done all his life, is he had worked on air conditioners. And one day he was scrolling through Facebook and he saw this cheesecake. He thought, sounds so good. How many of you like cheesecake?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too. So he thought, you know, I got cheesecake on my face. Anyway, he says, oh, that looks so good. And the recipe was there, so he thought, okay, I'm gonna try this cheesecake. So he made this cheesecake. His first thought was, what could possibly be worse than if I just made a disaster? So he thought he's just gonna go ahead and try it. So he made the cheesecake. He says it tasted pretty good, but it looked terrible. So he thought, okay, I'll try it again. So after making several cheesecakes and trying different techniques and different recipes, he finally found one that he really, really liked. And so he put his picture on Facebook. Look at my cheesecake. So friends started saying, can you make me one? And so he thought, oh, this is awesome. One friend says, I would like cupcake size cheesecake and I would like them in 5 different flavors. And he thought, oh, okay, how am I gonna do that? So he started doing some experimenting and trying different recipes with different things in them. And he came up with a whole huge kitchen full of a mess, one big cheesecake. When his wife got home, she thought, oh my word, what did you do? But he figured out how to make these different flavors and sizes, and he had so many, he decided to advertise on Facebook. He says, I have these flavors of cheesecake cupcakes for $3 each, and he sold out in a couple of hours. So, in his mind, he kept hearing these thoughts. Make cheesecake for a living, make cheesecake for a living. And he thought, oh, that's the stupidest thought I've ever had. I'm not gonna spend my life making cheesecake. I'm an air conditioning man. But then somebody made another order and wanted more cheesecake. And pretty soon, more and more cheesecake. And that voice in his head kept saying, make cheesecake for a living, make cheesecake for a living. So finally he thought, okay, I'll give it a try. So 5 years after the first time he found that cheesecake recipe on Facebook, 5 years later he owned his own cheesecake shop.
Wow.
Pretty amazing, isn't it? And he wasn't even a baker, but he found something that he loved doing. Do you mind if I read a story to you? This is by Oprah. And I usually don't put a lot of stock in Hollywood, but she said something here that I thought was absolutely amazing. There are no mistakes because we all have a supreme destiny. When we are not centered in love, we really don't know who we are, or we don't understand that we come from something greater and bigger, and that we all of us really are the same. When we don't know all that or understand that principle, we easily get flustered and we get stressed. We are wanting something to be what it isn't. We all have our supreme destiny and calling in life. Our job is to feel that destiny, to hear that, and to know that. And sometimes when you're not listening, you get taken off track. We may feel we get in the wrong marriage, the wrong relationship, take the wrong job, but it's all leading us to our full purpose. There are no wrong paths. There's no such thing as failure, because failure is just that thing trying to move you in another direction. So you get as much from your losses as you do from your victories. The losses are there to wake you up. The losses are there to say, fool, that was dumb. Now let's go on with our purpose. So when you understand that principle and you don't allow yourself to be completely thrown by a grade, a circumstance, a discouragement, because your life is bigger than any one experience, ask yourself, what would you say to your younger self? Every person says in one form or another, relax. Really, it's going to be okay. If you did take a detour right now and that's a message telling you that you're not at ease with yourself, that is the cue that you need to be moving in another direction. Maybe not a different marriage or not a different job, but maybe just up your game. Don't go into a downward spiral or lose sight of your goodness when you're feeling off course. That is the key. How do we turn around? Remember, the way through the challenge is to get still. Center, get still. Ask yourself, what is the next right move? Don't get caught up in thinking about all of that stuff that you have to do. Just ask, what is the next right move? And then from that space, make the next right move and the next right move. And not be overwhelmed by all of life, because you know your life is bigger than one moment. You know you are not defined by what somebody says is a failure for you, because failure is there just to point you in a different direction. It is to point you one step at a time. I thought that was very to the point. Yeah, that is really good. I quite often hear stories being a life coach. I hear a lot of stories about people's failures in life. And just like my pot from Pittsburgh, where I felt like I had failed and yet something really beautiful came out of it. This one lady was telling her story about how she grew up in a musical family and everybody there was musical. And her love and what she wanted to do in her life was to write music and be a performer. So she practiced, she studied, she practiced and studied and practiced and studied. Finally, she felt like she was ready to go and cut a record and get in with some big record deal or something. So she went in, I think she said like 5 different record places to record and to see if she could get on their label. And every time she was turned down. So she kept telling herself, maybe I'm going after the wrong thing. But then what ended up happening was that she was confronted and said, would you write music for this movie? She thought, oh, that still helps me with one of my thoughts that I should be doing. So she started writing music for movies, and she ended up making hundreds and thousands a year doing that, and she absolutely loves it. So we need to be open to what is brought to us. We need to be prepared, and we need to be aware, maybe not stuck in the same pattern, thinking, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. Just be open and remember this quote on this, that joy is a magnet for good things and people with high vibrations. That's a good way to lead you to what it is that you really need to do in life. And another way too, how many of you have kids? Oh, everybody? Or you don't?
Not me.
Okay. You can borrow the neighbor's kids. If you have children or neighbors' kids, ask them when they think of you, what do they think, what's the first thing that comes to their mind? And there will be a lot of different things. When I ask my grandkids, what do they think when they think of me? And they say pottery, because they're always coming over and playing in the mud. So there's a good indication that maybe pottery is a good thing for me to pursue. So be open to what other people are saying, especially little kids, because they're more honest and they're more open. So
Too honest sometimes, right?
what? Too honest sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes they say things we don't want to hear.
Hurt our feelings.
But that's a good learning pod too. That's a good learning tool. So, yeah, sometimes we don't like to hear it. Okay, I left a paper on your table. This one is the 4 selves. It's the one that's not colored. You find it? So this is kind of help you figure out who you are, so that it may help you be guided more in a direction of what it is you really, really want in life. So here's 4 different cells. Did you ever know that there were 4 parts of us? You didn't realize that? Okay, the first one is the known self, things that we know about ourselves and others know about us. Okay, for me, that would be, almost everybody knows I do pottery, and that I teach communication classes, and that I have 6 kids. Those are just things, so if you want to write something down that everybody knows about you and that you know about yourself. The next one is the hidden self, things we know about ourselves that others do not know. So what is it that we know about ourselves? Maybe we're afraid to tell somebody else. Maybe it's a secret passion we want to do, like doing pottery with, what's his name?
Patrick
Patrick Swayze. So maybe that's your hidden self.
Yeah, it is. Or, of course, I'm okay to share it.
Share Patrick?
No. No, Kim.
Not that far.
No.
Not that one. Okay, so write down, if you don't want anybody to know it, you can just put it in your mind and not write it down. Or maybe this is a good time to self-expose. Maybe it's not all bad. Anyway, the third one is the blind self, things others know about us that we do not know. Now this one I think is really interesting. I had a client come in one time that said he was really frustrated with his kids, and he wanted some training on how to train kids to be responsible for their own choices. So while we were doing that, I gave him an assignment, and the first assignment was, I think his daughter was 5 years old. I told him to go home and ask his daughter what she didn't like about him. So he went home and he said to his daughter, "Tell me one thing you don't like about me." And she says, "I don't like when you scream." Then all of a sudden, "I don't scream!" That was a real eye-opener for him. So he stopped himself right in the middle and said, "Whoa, I do scream." So that was something that gave him a motivation to work harder. So what do other people know about you that you don't know? Maybe you don't have an answer for that one yet. You have to ask the neighbor's kid. The unknown self, or things neither we nor others know about us. Okay, that one to me is very inspirational, because it's kind of like, maybe you don't know what that part of you is yet. Maybe you're going to be a cheesecake maker. If you leave yourself open for inspiration, we don't know what opportunities are going to come to us. And if we're going to find joy in those opportunities. And the way to do that is, first of all, to pay attention and then maybe give it a try. The one disadvantage of that is if you hop from one thing to another and not really give it a good try. Does that make sense? So if you see an amazing recipe on Facebook and you want to give it a try, try it, and try it, and try it some more. And keep experimenting, whatever it is. Go to YouTube, talk to experts, take classes, and then see if that still is going to make you happy, if that's the direction you want to go on. Does anyone have any questions on this? Anyone want to share their hidden self? Okay.
Are those things like the hidden self would be things that you don't want other people to know about you, or just things that they just happen to not know about you?
It could be both. It could be something like from your past that was a good thing, but it was kind of like an old memory. So it doesn't necessarily have to be purposefully hidden. Does that make sense? Any other questions? Okay, this other page, this one here, it's got the colored top. You are a miracle, finding your purpose and passion. And this one, when you think about when you're born, how many cells, trillions of cells come together to make you. It's like these pots, there's never another pot, never another person in this world like you. You have something that nobody else has, that you need to bring to this world and share. So, don't let anyone, most of all yourself, tell you you are not enough. You've already won the greatest lottery ever. The odds of you becoming you is 1 in 4 trillion. Your existence alone is the rarest asset on the planet. The fact that all of the possibilities, it was your specific DNA that was created is huge. You are one of a kind, no one else is like you, nor can anyone else give in this world what you can give it. You are a miracle. So on here, I put down a bunch of questions that I would like you to think through to help you maybe find a direction that you would like to try for your passion or your purpose. Number 1, what thoughts pop in your mind of things that sound interesting to you or you feel you are prompted to do? Maybe like this guy kept receiving these voices, make cheesecake, make cheesecake. Do you ever have those thoughts? Write them down. In fact, for the rest of your life when you get these thoughts, that'd be awesome to write them down. Number 2, what was the result of the first time you tried it? Okay, what were the results here for the first try? I bet you these will be treasured for years to come, even if they don't look so-called perfect or consistent, yeah. I don't believe in perfection, just in progress, so I think they turned out good. So your first time trying it, what was the result? What were the results the second, third, and fourth time you tried it? When I have people come to me for marriage, relationships, sometimes the wife will say, I absolutely hate golfing, and her husband is a golfer. So I asked her, have you ever tried it? No, I just hate it, I'm not gonna try it. So my suggestion is to go with him at least 3 times. And then if you don't like it, that's okay. At least you tried it. So there you go, try it at least 3, maybe more. How many times were you asked to make or do that for somebody else? How did you, Kim, how many times have people asked you to make pottery?
My husband's asked me a few times because he loves what I've made. Make some more.
And they made great Christmas gifts.
Yep.
Yeah, that was awesome. How did you feel when you were asked, and then did you do it?
Yes.
Cool. How did you feel when you did it?
I felt really good how they turned out. It was pretty fun.
Cool.
I had a great teacher.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Okay, number 5. Are you excited when you are doing it, or when you are looking forward to, and are you looking forward to keep doing it? So whatever it is, this is to help you lock down some pure joy and progression in your life. How can you improve? Maybe by practice, taking classes, working with an expert, or Patrick Swayze, and then look on YouTube.
I'm gonna practice that one.
That sounds, tell me how it goes.
Okay, but that'll be my hidden things.
Okay. Okay. What opportunities were opened because of this exploration? I think that one's a very good one to ask yourself. Because it wasn't necessarily pottery, maybe it's something on the sideline of pottery, or the sideline of music, or whatever it is that you have in your mind to try out.
Can I ask a question that might add on to this? Because I didn't fill this out, but internally, but
it's time to either up that game, or maybe the sideline, or go to Belize for a week, or and I'll share a story with you. Several years ago, I worked for a company that I absolutely loved, and I thought, oh, it was a marriage company, and I loved the people that I worked with, and it felt like a good place to be. But all of a sudden, after I'd been there, 8 years or so, I started feeling, the minute I walked in the office, I started feeling animosity or darkness. And I kept thinking, maybe it's me. Why am I feeling this? And then I would excuse it, not think about it, put that in my mind, and kept going. But not too long, maybe 6 months after that first time I started feeling that, I ran across an email that was being sent to everybody in the office except me, and they were making fun of me behind my back. I was the brunt of the joke in the office building. And so I confronted the boss with this email, and he blew up. He got very angry. And so I decided, maybe that's the slap in the face I needed to go start my own business. So is there anything like that?
Well, no, I was doing Dallas, and I had my own, and I rented out 2 stations.
Oh,
And I was booked out 3 weeks when I
wow.
chose to call it quits, and so that's where, But I had younger kids, and then the opportunity was a salary 9 to 5, Monday through Friday job, or salon industry hours. Had young kids, so I had a lot of pros and cons that I had to balance out. But that burnout, I think, came to it where
Yeah.
I had a lot of clients in that art, but I didn't realize having, you're sitting with a client for an hour and a half after an hour and a half, client after client after client after client, and constantly, it's art, it's what you love to do, but you're also doing what they're asking you to do, and sometimes it's a little different. And then the pay also, right? Trying to make sure that you're getting paid what you're worth.
Yeah.
When you're
Totally
competitors and
different
different things. So and then you're just like, you know what, I can't get what I'm worth, so that burnout, I guess, that frustration where, and I think that's what I had, but like I said, I had a lot of pros and cons that I had to balance out at the time.
Yes.
So it wasn't just that I was done with the art and the clients, but I think that.
I like your pros and con thing. If you have to get out a piece of paper and say pro and con, and then when you make your list, then you can look at it and say, okay, time to move on, or okay, I need to change my perspective.
Well, yeah, because now it was in 2011, but now I look back and I'm like,
Oh,
but now I grab the brush and my handshake.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so it's, it's that art, and that was my biggest fear also doing the art, is if something does happen to Marianne, I'm done, because you can't, that's what they're paying for, and so that's where, like you said, that pros and cons with that art, and that, it's such a beautiful thing to really love what you do,
Yes.
and it shows in your work, when you, especially art, I believe, that you can tell, you can't just do it for money,
Yeah.
at the end of the
So
day,
true.
that's,
So true. Did that help you?
yes, thank you.
Good. Okay, on the back of this page, called rejection and redirection. The overwhelming need to do something perfectly or not do it at all is our greatest challenge. And there again, are we expected to do this absolutely perfectly the first time around? I know there are a lot of times that people really struggle if they can't get it perfect the first time, then they must not have been meant to do that, which is so not true, so not true. In order to be great at anything, we have to be willing to be mediocre first. It takes tremendous courage to do things and try things and put yourself out there. You don't have to be the best at it, just put one foot in front of the other and follow the promptings. Be open to what you are led to do. And just to maybe say something else, that we live a fairly long life in modern society nowadays. We have opportunities to change our passion and our purpose several times throughout a lifetime, and that's perfectly okay. So we need to learn to accept and tolerate the feelings of inadequacy. Successful people recognize that there is no arrival. We are here to make the best of the next right step. And here's some more things to think about. When we get that horrible rejection, ask yourself, what did this teach me? The next one, what other opportunities came because of my trying this? I think that one's a really big one right there, watching for those other opportunities. Is the new direction a better path than the original one? Does it bring you more joy? Is this new step making you happy, and are you finding joy, flow, and peace around it? Do you wake up in the morning excited about the day? Remember that a rejection is just letting you know there are other opportunities or other directions. Maybe you need to just work harder. Does it not have anything to do with your value? Your value never changes. You are one of a kind, and your value is unchanging. And I brought each one of you a real plastic diamond.
Oh, real.
Yeah, so I want you to each take one and to remember that if you get a diamond muddy or any dirt of any kind, then it doesn't change its value. It is still a diamond. So put this in a place to remind you that you are valuable, and your value, no matter what choices you make in this world, your value does not change. You are one of a kind.
When you first began my ashtray.
There you go.
I know I would figure out something to put in there.
Yeah,
I like that those two go together.
yeah,
I think it's like a perfect symbol of what she shared today. For my first experience and how it is and what
there you go. There you go.
Watch in 10 years, she's gonna be making these pottery.
Wow. Once I get these nails off, I'm gonna be a barbecue kitchen. Random water.
There you go.
She said she would make one. She would wrap some like cool.
That's true. Here's some things down at the bottom of this page that asks, what is preventing you from trying your new direction? Fear of failure? Fear of losing friends, family, or acceptance? I bet that air-conditioned guy probably lost a lot of friends at his old job. Fear of no money. Fear that it isn't the right, I got the word wrong there. Fear that it isn't the right path. Are these valid or are they true? Could they just be stepping stones? Whoever typed this needs to review it. That was me. So, do you have any questions? No questions? Okay,
I have a question.
okay.
This is, well, not really for you, but for everybody. I don't even know if this is the right question to ask, but I wrote down, I've always wanted to learn how to do floral arranging.
Oh,
that's
I've
fun.
done events, like
Yeah.
I've done events, and I've worked in, I've been professionally paid for different parts of events, but not the floral. I've never done anything
That'd be
with floral.
fun.
So I guess my question is, does anybody know anybody that owns like a
Ooh.
floral shop?
Yeah.
I do.
Intern or something?
Yeah, I do.
We have art
I
tomorrow.
know people.
And do they teach classes?
Yeah, or
Does
something.
Stephanie-
Something.
Connie, does Stephanie? Arts floor? I don't think arts, but she would put something together.
Yeah, I was gonna say my friend
Somebody
actually.
would teach me, or did I take a class or something?
That'd be so
I
fun.
do
I'd like to do that too.
Yeah, for the church, they always
Connie
decorate.
does floral.
And for the,
Ah! I should just have you teach me.
It's all about that center and balance.
Or I say
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
brainstorming.
it could be the next class, flower arrangement
Oh,
class.
There you go.
Connie,
Yes.
are you gonna do
I'll
this?
come.
I have had some principals share with me over like an hour's time, but like I've never done it professionally.
Yeah, no.
I worked at a floral shop for a short time. I had a neighbor, back when my kids were younger, that she was the manager of the Orem Floral in the University Mall. And Mother's Day was coming up, and she said she needs extra help, and she asked if I'd like to help. And it was really fun. I learned how to do telefloral. I got to do a little bit of some of the smaller arrangements and stuff during the short time I was there. And then after the really busy time, she offered me a job to continue to stay there. And I was like, because I really wanted to go to beauty school. So I was going, should I stay working floral? Should I go to beauty school? So I passed it up, and I went to beauty school instead. But I loved it, and it would be,
Maybe I
you'd
should
love
look
it.
for a place that
Yeah.
You could just do it
during
for
like
holidays.
during
Yeah.
like
You could do it for
Valentine's.
Valentine's.
Just
that's
someplace
true.
to
Don't
do.
want Valentine's.
No.
No,
Been there, done that.
They don't do Valentine's.
No, I delivered the Valentine's. It was fun doing the
the
Yeah.
deliveries.
Cause
Cause you got to just show
Oh,
up,
yeah.
show
Like
up.
that show, The Bed of Roses.
Yes, I got the reference.
There's that movie. That movie. He was
And I get the expressions, it was perfect.
the movie when he was the floral. Was that The Bed of Roses?
Which one?
There was a guy. He
like
everybody thought he was just nobody, just a flower delivery guy, but he was actually a wealthy guy. He just did it because he liked to make people feel good. He wanted to be a flower delivery guy. Yeah.
Because it was sad when they went
My
out there.
best friend was gonna do it, and I
She was just leave it with the neighbor.
Yeah.
That's on the door! I have flowers for you! Out of your bed! And that's on the door.
Walk in, I'll go into the building, you know, you have all these flowers, trying to find all these students. I'm that person. There's so much fun. And like so much fun than receiving, yeah, my dad show. But, you know, it was fun to show, you know, just to give that happiness. I wasn't working at the time, and I was
So you guys are awesome.
Sorry.
No problem. Oh, look at that. It was so fun to spend a few hours with you guys. Do you have any other questions? You want to do a pot?
Effie's like, what?
Do you?
Do you want to do pot?
Well, yeah, I mean, we have time to do one more.
Yeah, we have like 15 minutes.
You have time to do two?
Wait, you do yours first, and then I'll do some
Yay,
first.
see, I love
I think I'll rush.
Whoever's never done this.
Been here.
Can I just really quick mention to
Yeah.
So really quick, sorry.
Yeah.
The reason why we're here today is because we are the women, us four actually, are with the Women's Business Center. Sorry, you have to hear it again. But, so we're the Women's Business Center of Utah. We're a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to help women entrepreneurs to either start or grow their business.
No way.
So I'm the program coordinator, and so I put together these training sessions. So we get to work with our clients to help other women to fulfill their entrepreneurial
Oh
goals.
my gosh.
And then this is Anne Marie, our state director.
I-
Yes, everything we
shut
do
up.
is for free.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and we're for the entire state of Utah. So we're the northern office, and then we also have an office in Cedar City. So if you are a woman entrepreneur or know of any of them,
Yeah.
make sure you connect with us because we just want to bridge the gap that women face when they try to strive to be their own boss.
Do you have to apply to
Nice.
community college to do that? or
No, so we are completely separate. We just have, so one of our goals this year, especially after the pandemic, going in person, is to be involved in the community and show our faces. So we're just doing offsite, because like we're part of the chamber and we're in the Skyrise downtown, which isn't trying, we're trying to make sure we reach and be able to provide these services to anyone around the state. So we don't want to inconvenience people to always go to Salt Lake City, you know, like we're here in Sandy today, but we can be in Park City next month, so we're trying to go everywhere offsite. And then Connie is our lead business advisor.
Right.
And then Effie is also a business advisor, but she is also the capital manager for Kiva, which is a micro loan
Here's over
opportunity.
above this.
That's okay.
Cool. That's awesome.
So how do we get in touch with you?
There's Connie has one of her business cards on there. Yeah, so feel free. Yeah.
This is yours.
Oh, this one.
Well, this is down.
And then if you guys can just fill out these surveys.
This is yours?
That'd be great.
Or no, this
Oh no,
is
that's
yours.
Christina, but I'll give you mine.
Okay.
Okay.
You can just collect all of them and just
These are
Yes.
these are Christina's.
Okay.
Both of with two of her businesses.
So if you know of anyone that is a great trainer or presenter, feel free to like give them my direct email, and then we can schedule something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yep.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter what part of the state. Like we said, we're trying to go all over the
And
state.
so, okay, so are you, so as far as like.
Really? I get that a lot.
Yeah, so just the only criteria, what we serve, our business is for anyone, but when it comes to women and entrepreneurs, they face a lot of roadblocks, especially in access to capital. So our nonprofit and our mission is to provide those resources, whether it's us knowing something directly or, hey, we're not the best experts, but we know who is, and so we can introduce them to that resource. So it's just women